Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Saco School Board meeting for Wednesday, April 8th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Would like to make note of all members of the school board present with the exception of School Board Member Richards, and we have Superintendent Ray with us this evening. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to item number 3, that is the approval of the school board meeting minutes dated March 25th, 2026. Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor,
School Board Member Truman?
I move we approve the school board meeting minutes dated March 25th, 2026. Actually, I take that back. I wasn't here, so I'm going to abstain from that one.
Is there a motion? School Board Member Johnston?
I do move that we approve the school board meeting minutes dated March 25th, 2026.
Thank you. Motion has been made by School Board Member Johnston. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by School Board Member Kidder. Okay, roll call vote. School Board Member Warnoff?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
before we go on, I just want to note that there is one tiny
Oh, okay, thank you.
correction, which is in the first reading of the policies. DJ is written, and I do believe I said the correct way, the correct title. So the word building purchase requirements under DJ is actually bidding/purchasing requirements, which is DJ. I just wanted to make sure that that's correct.
The title change. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, would like to make note that School Board Member Richards has arrived. Thank you very much. Okay, any other comments or questions on the minutes? Okay, roll call vote. School Board Member Warnoff?
Yes.
School Board Member Preble?
Yes.
School Board Member Richards?
Abstain.
School Board Member Roach?
Abstain.
School Board Member Kidder?
Yes.
School Board Member Truman?
Abstain.
School Board Member Johnston?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0 with 3 abstentions. Okay, moving on to item number 4, there are no adjustments to the agenda this evening. Item number 5, there are no correspondence. Item number 6 is public session. If there are any members of the public wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to address the school board.
Hi. Good evening, guys. My name is Katie Tebow. I live at 17 Ferry Lane. I'm a resident of Saco. I have 2 children in the Saco school system. They're in 2nd and 4th grade. So I'm here in response to the last meeting's public comment by the Teachers Union regarding Somedays. I'm here to speak in support of continuing the Someday program as it currently exists. For many students, this is not just a 30-minute activity. It's something they think about, plan for, look forward to all year. My own children talk about their Someday constantly. Sorry, something in my throat. It gives them excitement, motivation, and a sense that matters. What makes this program so meaningful is its individuality. Each child gets a chance to sometimes, the only chance of all year, to choose something for themselves. That matters, especially for kids that can't always do that. There is learning happening here. Students are practicing decision-making, planning within boundaries, and sticking with a choice. They're learning patience as they wait their turn. They're learning empathy and how to celebrate others when it's not their day. They are real lasting skills. Shifting this to a single class-wide activity removes the very thing that makes it impactful. It becomes just another group event. So I'm hoping that we can consider keeping Somedays as it is.
Thank you very much. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Okay, not seeing anyone seeking recognition. Moving on to item 7, that is the superintendent's report. Superintendent Ray?
All right, good evening, everybody. A couple of things. First of all, you may have seen in a newsletter or online trying to get feedback from community members to help select the official Bobcat image for our schools as we start to plan about all those images that will be in the new school. That was something we realized, is that we probably should have an official Bobcat. And so that's really exciting. And I think, Meg, we have close to like 500 responses already. Which, huh? 453 as of right now. Seems like there's a clear winner or a clear leader for the Bobcat, but the paw's a little up in the air right now of which one that will be. So that one will come down to things. Saco students recently took part in the Special Olympics Maine York County swim meet at UNE, showcasing their skills, determination, sportsmanship across a variety of swimming events. They had the opportunity to compete in individual races and team relay, building confidence and celebrating their personal achievements. So great job to our Special Olympians who did that. I want to put a shout out to Chris Hayden at the middle school in the drone club. SMS drone pilot program instructor, Chris Hayden, he went over to Young School for a kiddo who had curiosity about flying a plane, and he was able to lead an experience with his VR goggles and allow the entire class to explore flight from a pilot's perspective. Experiences like this spark engagement, deepen understanding, and show students that learning can extend beyond the classroom. So I want to thank Chris for going over to that. Fairfield School second grade classroom once again participated in the Read Me agricultural program, continuing a long-standing tradition of connecting literacy and real-world learning. So a lot of really good things going on in our classrooms. Want to remind everybody that starting next week will be April vacation week. So remind that piece. Hopefully our weather comes along with that. Looking out the window yesterday, seeing snow was not delightful. We need some warm weather. And then we'll get into some building updates and budget stuff later on in the agenda.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions or comments for the superintendent? School Board Member Truman, then Roach.
I just wanted to add too that I literally just came from the middle school band performance, which was phenomenal, and the chorus. I couldn't stay for 7th and 8th grade because I had to come here, but everybody else did a fantastic job, so.
Yeah, I'll just use this section. I missed the last meeting and the presentation that was tried for during public comment on Sundays. Earlier this year, I did ask if we could get some data together and then have possibly agenda item to end the year. I'm not requesting or saying anything should change on the budget, but where I don't agree that public comment should be used in that manner, I did want that to be discussed in a sort of a public, well, this forum here. Is there a chance to get that on the agenda before, not during, unless the board wants to do something with the budget, but is there a chance to get that on the agenda before, in May sometime, well before the end of the school year?
We also asked for some data follow-up before anything's scheduled. So
Right.
we have yet to hear anything, so.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, moving on to item 8, that's the chair's report. Chair Truman?
I have nothing to report.
Thank you very much. Item number 9, there are no staff reports. Item 10, the board subcommittee minutes. The Policy and Personnel Committee meeting met this afternoon at 5:30 p.m. The Finance and Infrastructure Committee, their next meeting is April 29th at 4:30 p.m. And the Curriculum Committee's next meeting is 4/9 at 4:30 p.m. also. Item 11, there is no old business. Item 12, under new business, there are no new hires. Item B is resignations. Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor,
School Board Member Truman?
I move we accept the resignation of Ariana Leclerc, young school teacher, and the retirement of Margaret Gregoire, young school teacher, effective at the end of the 25-26 school year.
Thank you very much. Motion has been made by School Board Member Truman. Is there a second? Second by School Board Member Johnston. Any discussion or comment on the item? Okay, roll call vote. School Board Member Warnoff?
Yes?
School Board Member Preble?
Yes.
School Board Member Richards?
Yes.
School Board Member Roach?
Yes.
School Board Member Kidder?
Yes.
School Board Member Truman?
Yes.
And School Board Member Johnston.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Can I stop you for a minute? Is the curriculum committee meeting tomorrow? It's the 13th. It's next Monday, so that's an error.
Okay, correction on the curriculum committee under item 10. The next meeting is 4/13 at 4:30?
Yep.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to item C, that is a building update. Superintendent Ray?
Okay, so just to kind of update you where we are, 17% complete. Still no building up, but you're 17% complete. Foundation is being poured currently. And if you drive by there, they are huge piles of fill and sand that are out there, but it's pretty exciting that you're pretty close to a fifth of the way done. On our end of things, we're really spending a lot of time on the interiors of the building, selecting different things around flooring and color combinations, really trying to spend a lot of time on not just making sure that the products that we have look good on day one, but they're products that will last for a long time, and kind of, help hold our schools together. We're also talking about, some of the patterns. How do we bring in the environment of Saco into the building? That was kind of when we were thinking about themes. People were really kind of passionate of making sure that the natural landscape of Saco is represented in the buildings. And so those are some decisions that we are working on right now. Meg, anything else that is super exciting?
No bat study.
No bat study.
And we also have a third grade classroom that will be outfitted over spring break with a variety of different furniture options so that we can have the rest of the school year to have kids sitting on the seats and in the desks and with the different shaped tables. It won't look as cohesive as what our classrooms will ultimately look like, because the intent is to try out a bunch of different stuff, but we're really grateful to Kate Carrier on the third grade team. She's attended a lot of extra meetings to make sure that her classroom space is set up for that transformation over spring break, and then we'll have kids actually in some of the furniture that we'll be looking at for the new building.
So we're happy to take any questions you might have about the new building that we can try to answer. By, I would say, midsummer, when you drive by, you're going to see a whole lot of structure starting to take shape.
Thank you. Any School Board Member Truman?
Question on the furniture. Is that stuff that the vendor gives us and says, try it out? Or is that something we have to purchase a few pieces here and there and try out different things?
They're loaners.
Loaners. Okay,
So
thank you. I was I knew there was a word for it.
We have
maybe there.
them for the end of April break through the end of the school year.
Okay.
We had talked about doing 2 different classrooms, but they would only do a month. And so I said, well, why don't we do 2 months in one classroom? Because I wouldn't want to be the teacher or the student that's shuffling a classroom twice before the end of this school year.
Correct. I agree with that statement. Also, and is it several different types of furniture that they're trying out, so kids will be able to scoot through and
Yep.
say, oh, I like the purple chair better?
Yeah, it'll be a lot of different stuff. And to be clear, we don't have a vendor selected, like all of that will have to go through the bid process, so it's like a very high-level overview of like, is a rectangular desk working, or are these different shaped desks that fit into like 5s and 4s and 3s better? Is this shape of table better? Is a wiggle seat better, or casters on the chairs, like some of those bigger decisions?
I say no to casters on the chairs.
I
just say-
think, I think the middle school teachers would agree with you after some of those that we
Yes.
replaced.
Okay, so I know the vendor part has to go through the bidding process, so do you just have a particular vendor that's loaning them, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we have one vendor that's offered to do that sample classroom with
Okay.
materials, and then we have another vendor that's bringing in some like library waiting area things. Almost all of those are like a loaner, like they bring it in, they deliver it. Our facilities staff, thank you, Don, takes all the stuff that we actually need to hang on to, because we're not just getting it forever, and stores that neatly away, and then they come in and get the other stuff ready.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Just to follow up on that, I think we're beginning to realize the amount of furniture that is going to be put into 200,000 square feet of schools, all from brand new, is a little bit of a project itself.
Yeah,
It's, I guess you just don't think of, you don't experience it until you experience it, from every cabinet to every hook on the wall to every desk, chair, board, bulletin board, whiteboard, all of those things. And thinking that you're making the right decision, that needs to last probably about 15 to 20 years. That's a pretty big decision. So thankful for the companies that are allowing us to have it for 6 to 8 weeks, because it's really tough to make a decision like walking around in a week and being like, okay, is this what you're, think about just your home, that you buy stuff and you say, oh, that's not as comfortable as I thought it was in the store. And now you're talking, hundreds of thousands of pieces of furniture when you really think about all the little things.
All right. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Moving on to item D, that is a budget update. Superintendent Ray?
Okay, so I was able to text you last, I think Friday evening, when we received our health insurance rate of 5.7% increase. Zach currently is working on those switches and any other minor things that have come up over that time, so that when we come back to the next meeting, we'll be able to have a final approved budget from the school committee end. I think as a town, we seem to be in a somewhat good place. Haven't gotten a ton of feedback on that piece. This is a maintenance budget for us, so this is just holding the line on things. Certainly, like anybody out there right now, we do have a little bit of concerns of pricing, because obviously petroleum prices influence almost everything. It will influence the price of pens, and influence the price of crayons and paper and those things. So that may be a little bit of a challenge for us on those if prices continue to go up. But I think overall we feel like we're in a pretty decent place. What I'd like to do at the next finance committee meeting, which will be before the next meeting, is begin starting to review the funds that we have for capital improvements, and sitting with Dawn and you folks to kind of prioritize what would be the kind of next step for us in the work that we will do around the district, and particularly at SMS, and how those funds would be spent, and listening to Don and everybody about what he thinks would be the best bang for our buck.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? School Board Member Kidder?
I guess this might be more of a school construction update that I should have asked before. But these increasing costs, are they built into the bid that we accepted? Or how does that work if their costs suddenly rise exponentially?
So certain things, obviously, take furniture, for example. We have an allotment for furniture, and that's our allotment for furniture. So part of it will be through the bid process. You may have to think of other ways, you know, if one item's $120 and another item's $100, and you're, just like anything else, you may have to figure out what fits. One of the things I think is a little bit unique for us in this scenario is that we are working on the rebate for the geothermal, which will come directly back to us as a school department and city. It's outside the product, it's a tax rebate to us. While I think we all hope that can solve other needs, I also think that as that comes our direction, if things alter or switch, it's also kind of a safety net to say, do you want to buy the desk that's $100 that only lasts 10 years, or do you want to spend the extra $20 now and the experience says you're going to get 15 or 20? I know that's just an example, but I do think that we have that opportunity with that rebate to make sure that if prices rise, that we don't necessarily have to say, well, we're not going to do quite this much over here, and then 5 years later redo it at an even higher cost. So I think that's part of the process.
And as far as the actual physical construction materials, is their cost obviously they haven't purchased it yet. So the bid that we accepted from them, what if their prices?
So most of those contracts do have price overruns in them that would come out of a contingency account. When I believe it was Auburn High School was under the construction process, because certain prices went so high post-COVID, they actually went back to the state and they worked on some things together on how to go about finishing that project without saying we're not going to pave that parking lot or something like that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? School Board Member Roach?
A couple subjects. One on the IT department increase, which has a good amount for the SMS IT. It might be the first go-around in the last couple of years of actually trying to capitalize this type of equipment. Coming up in our policy approvals is our actual capital, what amounts we would capitalize. So if the city is looking from the schools to help with the tax rate, I think it's not an accounting scheme or anything. It is an opportunity to, when you capitalize something, instead of expense something, it does not go to the expenses to tax the citizens. But it would be owned, it's in the city's books as an asset. Could there be discussions or an approach to put that in that bucket versus be a tax increase on the expenses for the IT department?
Anything is possible, I guess. I think that would need to be a lot of conversation between city council and the board here. And my preference would be looking at a revenue in for a one-time piece, wherever that's coming from, based on just, I want to say, record keeping and long-term planning purposes versus something that's over here. Eventually, that happens 3 or 4 years, boards change over, people forget how that all happened, whereas this would, unless it was purchased directly by the city, it needs to be in our 11 lines, so would be cleaner if you had a, say, a matching revenue for that expense, and you called it a one-time whatever situation.
So then, going to the capital policy, when would we implement that capital policy? I just think we would implement it, number one, based on need, which SMS does have that need, we can agree on that. And two, if there's, tax rate pressures coming from the citizenry, the city council, et cetera, and this is a way to still get something for the schools, but not, as long as the city's funds are adequate, the cash reserves and everything. So
I don't know, Kevin, I want to look into that a little bit more before I can give you a solid answer of when or how.
I have another subject. Let's call this up here. Okay. Going back to the just the overall budget. By schools, whether it be fully burdened with IT, special education, the biggest increase for all the schools is Thornton Academy.
Yep.
Okay. Certainly by gross dollars, but also by percent. SMS is second, which you'd want that close to the high school. Is SMS they have student increases?
It's about the same. We have, as our 5th grade class is a little bit larger this year, correct? Or was it last year that we had the large 5th grade? Last year was the large 5th grade class. We're not seeing any significant population increase
Okay,
anywhere.
I'm just talking very, very generalities. Young school actually has a decrease because of less students. Fairfield, Burns has a very small increase, and their student rates were flat. Thornton Academy, their numbers are budgeted to be flat as well, right?
I actually decreased that by 15 students.
So decreased, yet for fiscal year 26, for school year 26-27, Thornton Academy is getting the largest budget increase in the Saco school budget.
Correct.
Indisputable. So they are, even with less students budgeted, they are more than covered for next year, correct?
They have the largest increase of about 8-something%, I think. I'm just pulling up that document.
So no matter what happens with contract negotiations, Thornton Academy is more than covered in this budget, because in that increase, correct me if I'm wrong, we are putting in not 7%, 10% IVF, and not battling with the state on that.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. They are getting maximum tuition for kids that are going to Biddeford COT vocational, correct?
Correct.
Whereas state law says we don't have to do that as a Saco taxpayer, correct?
Correct.
Correct. Now, we were told, correct me if I'm wrong, that we were told at a joint city council school board meeting from one city councilor that we need to get to a contract, and somehow implying that we are not being upfront enough to say we want to get a contract done and offering these things, the Thornton Academy. We presented a contract proposal 2 weeks ago Have you heard back from Thornton Academy?
I have not.
You have not. Okay. So it does take two parties to actually get things resolved. And we just heard Thornton Academy is more than covered for next year. I don't speak for the negotiation committee. I don't speak for this school board, but I am on the negotiation committee. So I really don't want to hear that our side is not upfront and trying our best to negotiate. We didn't turn down a mediator. Thornton Academy did. And you know why? This is going to be my opinion. You know why? Because a mediator is going to get things to the middle here. And Thornton Academy is not going to get what they want to get. Are we partners or are we not partners? Saco School, public schools have been around since 1800. 1800. Thornton came along later. Thornton Academy would not be Thornton Academy without the Saco citizens and the Saco students coming through our public schools. So we're going to make this a partnership, not going to force anything. Those are friends of mine at Thornton Academy and friendlies. I don't know if they'll be friends after this little speech, but I'm sick of the misinformation in this community. And if someone wants to speak for Thornton Academy, there are plenty of empty seats to come to this school board. My phone number is public. These phone numbers are public. Emails are public. We'd love to hear it, okay? But it's been 2 years of this, and my opinion, we don't need a contract. We don't need a contract. We're partners. We just go year by year, get set a budget, and we just move on. That's my speech. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? School Board Member Warnoff.
Sorry, my microphone doesn't work. I just want to second that.
Anyone else? Any questions or comments? School Board Member Johnston?
I think I would just like to also agree that the information that School Board Member Roach has just shared is important information to get out. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay, moving on to item E, that is a strategic plan update. And Meg, get that one?
Yep, I just wanted to provide the board with a brief update on the work that the curriculum committee, acting as a subcommittee for the strategic plan, has done. The minutes that are in there reflect some of the revisions that that team is going through at the curriculum committee level, and we were very grateful for over 100 responses providing feedback on the specific language of the draft strategic feedback. And we're now in the process of trying to kind of simplify and distill the language that we had, because the feedback that we got was that the overall intent of the draft language was good, but that it would be helpful to have it in really clear, concise language. And so that's what the team is working on now, and we look forward to bringing that draft forward in the next couple of months.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions or comments for Meg? Okay. Thank you. All set, thank you. You're doing a present.
I'm next for ELA adoption.
Oh, you okay, that's what. All right, moving on to item F under, we have an ELA recommendation. And Meg, you have a statement or a presentation before the vote?
Yep, so at the last board meeting, I presented the background on this. I'm happy to kind of dive in if folks want the full background. It is all in the backup. The kind of long story short is that we're about a year and a half, almost 2 years into a curriculum review process for our K-5 curriculum. And through that process, we have reviewed dozens of resources, including visiting other school districts to see some of those in action. We've had teachers pilot resources this year, as I shared with the board about this time last year, and we are now ready to make a recommendation to the full board to adopt the core knowledge language arts CKLA program for our 1st through 5th graders in its entirety, and then our kindergarten curriculum looking at core knowledge language arts skills, which is that foundational phonics component, with K for Me, which is the extension of the resource that our pre-K uses at Pre-K for Me, and that's a free open source state-created curriculum that's focused on reading and writing, but does not include that foundational skills like how to read. It's more focused on content, learning how to write, learning about reading through listening and discussion, etc. And I'm happy to answer any other questions. I will also just share, we talked a little bit last time about the funding sources for that. It is a significant investment in these resources. However, the first year investment is the highest of that versus the recurring year-over-year costs, which decrease quite a bit, and it is pretty comparable with the costs that we pay for our math resources that include consumable student resources every year, as well as like year-over-year resources that can last for multiple years.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Meg?
I just want to add that, as we discussed in curriculum, that we could do a shorter contract, but selling it to staff to really buy into the program, I think makes more sense to do a longer term one. And I trust the pilot classroom teachers who have, tested this out over the past couple of years. That it's a really great program, and the reporting back for the growth on these programs is pretty significant too. So if everybody's comfortable, I'm happy to make the motion.
Anyone else? School Board Member Roach?
So if we're going to make a motion or anything, is this, going back to the budget, where would this go in the budget?
So it's already allocated in there. It doesn't mean, until we have this vote, it doesn't need to go towards this specific resource, but the funds to cover this are split across a couple of different things. One, they're in that FY27 proposed budget within the individual elementary schools. And if you search the budget for Amplify, that's kind of the parent company of CKLA. That's where you'll be able to see the different places where it falls. Additionally, we're able to use some of our title funds for the professional development component. The M-class DIBELS is an assessment component, so you'll see that in an assessment line. And then we will have an opportunity to take a look at materials that we have not spent money on as we approach the end of this budget year, so that we can get the teachers' guides into teachers' hands before the end of this year. So it's kind of split in 3 different big buckets, one in the FY27 local, one in title funding for Fairfield and CK Burns, or Title II for professional development, and then the third bucket in kind of looking at an end of year FY26, where are areas that we haven't fully expended on resources, consumables, teacher resources, and then utilizing that, what's left there, to get those pieces before the end of the school year.
On the actual program itself, you mentioned that the teachers that did sign up for this, did the program, really did like it and support it. Is that going to transfer to everybody? Do you think that good word of mouth will get to the rest of the staff, that there's going to be sign-on?
Yeah, we held grade level team meetings, I think it was 2 weeks ago, on early release Wednesdays for our pilot teachers to really share their experiences. I think overall, staff are pretty excited about having this resource and have been advocating for a change for a while. I think there's always fear when you're making a big change because you know it's a significant expenditure and you know that you're going to invest a lot of time and energy as a teacher to learn the best way to use those resources with kids. But I think overall the feelings are positive. Our committee had a lot of conversations around the fact that if there were one thing that worked for every single teacher and every single student, then the whole entire country would be using the same resources and we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I'm sure that we're going to continue to come across tweaks that we need to make, bumps in the road that we might need some more professional learning with, but overall, I think folks are really excited.
And last question, the grades 4 through 5 had the, I don't know what the word is, the weakest or the, and also the smallest increase between the two programs. Would there be a different either spending or approach for the 4 to 5 grades, or is it a 1-year maybe hiccup? There's nothing to point to with this yet.
Well, I mean, the publishers will actually tell you anytime you're piloting a program, they don't expect to see any change in growth in the first year when you're still learning it. So the fact that we see anything is pretty significant. And I will also say that we used NWEA scores and we used the RIT score to calculate those changes. And it's a little bit deceiving in that way because the way that those scores work, students are expected to make more points of growth in younger grades. Like when you're learning how to read, your curve is steeper. So it's not necessarily that 4th and 5th grade didn't grow as much on average, though that's true. It's just like that's also part of what's expected is that curve kind of levels out.
Diminishing return after 3rd grade.
Exactly.
Yeah, back in the day, you guys would tell us that the 3rd grade level was like the level, and then things would flatten off for certain improvements or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And oftentimes it's also harder to measure some of the gains that we're looking for, like analytical thinking and developing a thesis and writing and that sort of thing. Standardized testing is not going to capture that the same way as it will that you can either read the word cat or you can't, right? So it's it becomes more complex to measure the growth that we're actually trying to achieve.
Well, the country reads at a 3rd grade level, so can't expect too much more, right?
Sad but true.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, now, School Board Member Truman.
I'm happy to make the motion.
Great.
I move we adopt CKLA skills and K for Me for kindergarten and CKLA skills and knowledge for grades 1 through 5 for a 6-year contract starting in the 26-27 school year.
Motion has been made by School Board Member Truman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by School Board Member Warnoff.
Yes?
Oh, Kidder, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm trying to
Thank
see
you.
if it's on.
Any additional questions or comments? All right, roll call vote. School Board Member Warnoff.
Yes?
School Board Member Preble.
Yes.
School Board Member Richards.
Yes.
School Board Member Roach.
Yes.
School Board Member Kidder.
Yes.
School Board Member Truman.
Yes.
School Board Member Johnston.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Okay, moving on to item G, that is the second reading of policies. Is there a motion? School Board Member Johnston?
Thank you. I move we approve the second reading of these policies. CBI, evaluation of the superintendent. DC, use of credit cards. DI, fiscal accounting and reporting. DIDA, fixed assets. DJ, bidding/purchasing requirements. DJA, purchasing authority. And DJH, purchasing and contracting procurement, staff, code of conduct.
Thank you. A motion has been made by School Board Member Johnston. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by School Board Member Truman. Question or comments on the policies? School Board Member Roach?
Only because I brought it up earlier in the budget, but the fixed asset policy. So not to make this accounting 101, but it defines what a capital asset is, has useful life, it lasts period to period. Capitalization methods, that's how you depreciate things. Then capitalization thresholds. So when it comes to IT equipment, the threshold is only $3,000. So I am not suggesting that you ticky-tack every $5,000 purchase and try to move it to capital. I'm talking about combining a whole project, which would get it well over, even up to like 150,000 level for buildings and improvements. So that's the type of level that I'm talking about that could make a difference if there's a debate between city council and school board about the mill rate and ways to do it. This is a way, a legitimate way. What makes it complicated for the city of Saco is that the city owns the buildings. The city, so it ends up being like a receivable between the two entities. So, okay, that's enough of the boring talk. I just wanted to just point that out, and then that's just an avenue to do it because we have the policy right there. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, roll call vote. School Board Member Warnoff?
Yes?
School Board Member Preble?
Yes.
School Board Member Richards?
Yes.
School Board Member Roach?
Yes.
School Board Member Kidder?
Yes.
School Board Member Truman?
Yes.
School Board Member Johnston?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. All right, thank you, everyone. Moving on to item 13, under other information, is there anything any school board members wish to share? School Board Member Roach?
Yes. This is actually an invitation. I serve as president of Save Our Shores Saco Bay, and if everyone in this room knows that we have a huge project happening on the shoreline. The Army Corps of Engineers is putting a parallel jetty off the shoreline, going through next summer at the latest, and then hopefully a sand replenishment right after. At the meeting, the city had a meeting this morning, and with the Army Corps and the contractor. Their company's name is Mohawk, and they asked in the city meeting whether the Saco community had a STEM program for students to come out in maybe sort of an outdoor class environment. And so the invitation is as soon as May, when they're out here and before the school year ends. But they'll also be here in the fall too, so we don't have to rush anything, or it can be multiple classes or meetups. So I put it out to Saco Middle School and also Thornton Academy. In fact, with our shoreline activities down there in the past, there's, I can't remember his name, but there's a great teacher at Thornton, a science teacher, who brought actually my son's class out there for a morning on there. So anyway, that type of environment, if they could get to the shoreline, the invitation is out there, and if someone wants to reach out to the city or the schools or myself personally, we can possibly make that happen in May. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, not seeing anyone. Moving on to item 14, there is no executive session this evening. Item 15 is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Who was? School Board Member Truman, second by School Board Member Preble. Roll call vote. School Board Member Warnoff.
Yes?
School Board Member Preble.
Yes.
School Board Member Richards.
Yes.
School Board Member Roach.
Standing on the moon with nothing left to do. Yes.
School Board Member Kidder.
Yes.
School Board Member Truman.
Yes.
School Board Member Johnston.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn passes 7-0 at 7:49. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night and an excellent April vacation.